Farm4Profit Podcast. Take a listen, have a blast. Farm4Profit Podcast. Learn about farming while having a laugh. Farm4Profit Podcast.
Hey listeners, welcome back to the Farm4Profit Podcast. This is Tanner Winterhoff.
This is Corey Hillebo.
And we welcome all new listeners. There might be just a couple of new listeners joining us on this episode, and we appreciate you. Our show has two different formats. We air twice a week. We have a Farm4Fun episode that comes out on Thursday. That's what you're listening to right now. It's kind of a happy hour. We drink a beer.
Yeah.
We sometimes have a cup of coffee if it's... No,
Morning.
we pretty much drink a beer all the time.
Well, no. Sometimes you make us come in the morning, and
true.
it's coffee, and then sometimes it's coffee to beer.
Yes.
It's like with no hydration in between.
It just is the way it goes, the life of a podcast host.
Yep.
And then we have our Profit shows. Profit is more of a business and educational episode, but we still try to make those fun and entertaining. So if you like this episode with our guest today, go ahead and listen to more Farm4Funs. They always start out with an F4F at the beginning of it. But we have fun all the time that we do this.
One thing we haven't done lately is no one has called, and we haven't promoted it. You should call
right.
or text us. We have a text line, 515-207-9640. If you leave us a funny voicemail, because Tanner won't answer it. Sometimes he'll answer it, but he probably won't. We'll put it on air.
I'm so sick of the people that call saying, you need to update your Google business listings. No, I don't answer any of those. You can leave us whatever voicemail you want.
Yep.
But no, I think that would be a lot of fun, something for us to continue to promote, because you're right. It's been a long time. We get text messages, but they're more questions about...
Why do you guys suck so bad?
No. No. But we also encourage listener reviews. 5 stars, you can type whatever you want to. So if you want more episodes like this, you can email us, you can text us, you can go and leave us a review. We had a Matthew on Spotify leave us this review, said, your episode was definitely interesting and you all should talk to the current leader of John Deere in Israel.
Really?
Yeah. I've never been. I don't have any problem going.
Do you have a Matthew? Do you have a connection to this?
Gal Gadot Varsano is the name.
Well, we'll talk to anybody.
And apparently this person might have been a former actress.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
See, listeners, you can type whatever you want to in there. We appreciate any and all of that. We also like fruit. What's your favorite fruit, Corey?
I'm a big sucker for watermelons.
Oh, like really? Or are you just...
Actually, no. If you get the right watermelon, like if it's flavorless or whatever, like no, I could leave it back, or like mushy. But you get those summer days where they're ripe in season, and you get that crunch and sweet, and it's like refreshing. It's everything you need in one.
Yeah.
I love them.
I should have answered the phone because it was Mr. Whitaker, our third co-host.
Oh,
just to put him on.
Fancy you
Put him
calling,
on the
Dave.
mic.
Can't
Just
be here, but he has time to call
got
you.
called to buzz in.
Yep.
I'm excited for this episode. We've never interviewed a guest like this before. I'm excited for the weekend. We're recording this just before we get to go to the Iowa Speedway.
Yeah.
We're going to hang out with Iowa Corn the entire weekend. We got a lot of fun stuff planned. We got more shows that are going to sprinkle out towards the end of this summer. So if you do like this, there's going to be more racing conversations.
Yeah. I'm excited. The NASCAR's coming to Iowa. Mm-hmm. Indy's always here. We've had Xfinity, which is a NASCAR series. We have the trucks. We've never had the Cup Series.
That's right. That's right. And this episode, not to tease you, but you got to listen all the way to the end for the Jesus Take the Wheel story. That is probably the best way we've ever ended a podcast.
Yep, it was good. So stick around to the end. It's a good one. Great guest. It was fun. We pre-recorded it, so we already know it's good.
It was great. And I wish I could have talked to him forever and ever, but that just, again, like we say, gives us an excuse to talk to him a second time.
Yep.
So what do you say? Should we get our guest introduced today?
Let's get in. Let's do it.
All right, Corey, let's get a little introduction here. Picked a song called Overdrive. So you got to let this...
Is that supposed to be good?
Got to let this roll in. I don't know
royalty-free music.
Is it ever good?
Not normally.
You don't think so?
Not when you pick. Oh my gosh. That was Turn that down. Woo.
Now you're rolling.
Today on the Farm4Fun show, we get a little bit off our normal path, but we are here for it. watermelon farmer turned NASCAR driver. This guy has over 500 starts across all NASCAR platforms, has 4 wins in the Cup Series, 10 wins across all the series, 77 top 5s across all the series, and who can forget the 2022 NASCAR's most viral moment, the slingshot engaged Hail Melon at Martinsville, riding the wall at full throttle to unexpectedly pass several on the last lap to knock out the NASCAR heel, Denny Hamlin, from advancing to the final round of playoffs. We both share Busch Beer as a sponsor. We all love farming. Please welcome the driver of the #1 Trackhouse Racing Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 from Alva, Florida, Mr. Ross Chastain.
Yeah.
What is up, buddy?
It's here at the race shop, man. Trackhouse. We're in Concord, North Carolina today.
You're in North Carolina, so you were out in wine country in Sonoma, right? Last week.
Yeah, man.
And so, do you get a fly back there, or do you get a drive? What's that?
Yes. We flew back. So the teams, we charter planes. So we share a plane on the way out with RFK, one of our competitors, with the 6 and 17 car. All the road crews, so not pit crews, so mechanics, drivers usually, different people that need to be there all weekend go out together, and then on the way back, all of our pit crew gets on with us. So they trickle out throughout the weekend depending on what races they run. So Trackhouse fills up, I think it's about 50, 55 people that we put on a plane, something like that. And right after the race, we drive to the airport and crawled into bed a little after 4 Monday morning.
Woo!
I wondered how those nights after races go.
That's interesting. I should say thank you to Iowa Corn for putting this together as well. I had Busch Light in the intro, but yeah, this is also sponsored by Iowa Corn. We're going to be out at the racetrack in Newton, Iowa this weekend. This show will come out after that, so hopefully Ross is holding the checkered flag by then. But let's go back to the beginning, man. Everyone knows you as the watermelon farmer. I've watched some stuff from back when you were in the truck series and things like that. They really highlighted your farming content. Let's go back to little Ross before you started racing. What was that like?
Yeah, that was I was a kid that played soccer, just normal stuff growing up. Rec ball, wasn't very good, played bench a lot, and was 12 years old, and my dad had raced a little as a hobby, and we worked at the farm. I got to go to work at the farm. He didn't make it a chore, so growing up, if I got in trouble, it wasn't that I had to go to work and I had to go get on a tractor. It was always a reward or a perk. So that was different than I think how he was raised. My granddaddy, how they did it, and my great grandfather, how they had done it before. So my dad, with Chad and I, did it more in a rewarding way. Not that we didn't go to work, and there was times where I'm sure I didn't want to be there doing it, but it just was, it was what we did, and we loved it. So when he asked me about racing, we were casual fans. We'd go to the 4th of July Daytona race. We never went to the 500 in February because we had plants in the ground. We go to Homestead in November to watch the races, or Atlanta in the summer. So it was just a casual kind of fandom that we had. I remember when I realized there was like a Saturday race and a Friday night truck race I could watch, and how excited I was. I was way too old to be just realizing that, especially for me to end up making a career in those series. So I was 12 years old. It was late in 2005, and my dad asked if I wanted to go drive a race truck at our local food track. And the first time I drove it, my dream was alive and well.
Was your dad racing trucks as well?
He had done a little bit. Yeah, he had done some before I was born, and then continued on, off and on. When I was little, I remember being out and him using paint from the farm to paint his race truck, and working on it in our garage and at the packing house. And he had a couple of buddies. His brother-in-law, Doug Miller, raced, and then one of his best friends, Dennis Rockenhouse. They all ended up getting trucks and traveling around Florida and our local track and racing and running into each other, spinning each other out, all that fun stuff. Nice. He did a little bit, and that's why he knew how to work on the truck and get it ready. And we borrowed one from Dennis actually at the beginning, but we put a motor in it and did things to get it running, get it working, and then we bought our own truck eventually. And he had the mindset of how to kind of work on the setup, and then my grandfather on my mom's side, so my mom's dad, my papa, he was a mechanic. He loved to pack wheel bearings and service brakes and check everything. So they had a really good, I kind of had a good crew chief and a good car chief. I didn't even know it at the time, but had one. My dad would work on the setup and a lot of the mechanicking, and then my grandfather would come in and help a lot of the stuff that kept us from breaking down.
There you go. Was this on dirt or pavement?
Asphalt, man.
Asphalt. There we go.
Look, we worked at the farm. Okay, we're in Sugar Sand, South Florida. We wanted to get as far from the dirt as we could and go to race on asphalt.
So we went down to Clewiston, Florida for the U.S. Sugar tour last November. How far are you from Clewiston?
Yep, just west of there, a little north and west. We live on the Caloosahatchee River, and then we farm north of Fort Myers and south of Arcadia. So, yeah, we're not 45 minutes from there. I had a great aunt that lived there, and it's my grandmother was from over there. So yeah, small world.
Okay, it's a very small world.
We're just far enough west and north to be in the more dry sugar sand where they get some more muck down there and the black dirt. So we're in a niche there for watermelons with sandier soil.
Yeah, they like well drained, right?
Dry, man.
Yeah.
It goes against what everybody thinks. That everybody that plants a watermelon in their garden and waters it like they do everything else usually comes crying to me at the end of their growing season, asking why they didn't make a good watermelon. They don't need as much water for sure.
There you go.
So how many watermelons do you guys grow? How big's the operation?
A couple, yeah. My dad and brother grow about 400 acres, plastic acres there.
Awesome.
South Florida. So we just do one crop. We don't do a fall crop. There is a Florida fall crop that you can do, but we don't participate in that, and we just get ready for spring. And we're putting transplants in the ground the first week of January, and we're done harvesting right now. So big push for Memorial Day, and we've got that, and they're all out and sold, and get the fields back down in pasture, and we'll move on to a new field for next year in a few months.
Okay, so you rotate it around.
Yeah, we don't own the land. We're farming, so we're leasing it, and we do calendar leases for a calendar year, and really from kind of August 1st to July 31st, and that way we have time to get ready, get the field from whatever condition it's in. It's usually pasture. There's just cows on it, and we go in and get everything disced under, get it ready and prepped and laid out. We have to dig ditches with a traco. Picture a ditch big enough for a 1500 Chevy to fit in. With the doors wouldn't open, so we have to irrigate. We have to have ways to get water to the plants, and we do seepage. But mainly, we have to have ways to get the water out. If we get enough rain, we need to be able to drain it, and so we have a lot of cross ditches. We set it up in a grid, and we have V ditches that we pull with a plow, and then we dig every so many feet. We're digging a large ditch to move a lot of water if we need to get it out of the field. So my dad's kind of I call him the water wizard, because he can look at a field, look at a topo map, looking at the topography and trying to see where the water is going to go when it does fall. And he's got dams and risers in to move water around, and one deep well to manage that 400 acres. So we tried drip tape and drip irrigation years ago when I was in high school, and we'll do it every now and then. If we take in, like this past year, we took in a expired grove, a citrus grove that had been let go. So we went in and cleared the trees and farmed it, and we were able to use their drip system. So that was nice, but we don't do it all the time. So we kind of we walk with 1 foot in modern technology and 1 foot old school pump it into the ditch.
It sounds like another NASCAR sponsor you could get is Netafim there. You know,
Get
some drip tape there.
Irrigation sponsor.
Yep.
Now, the key question, though, is here, Ross, how do I know I'm picking a good watermelon? Like, I have no idea until I cut this open if this is going to be worth the crap.
Well, you got a pretty large one there on the table. Looking at that thing.
But is it like a smell? Am I looking for a sunspot?
I thought it was a sunspot. That's what.
Yeah, well, let's spin that. I know maybe some people can't see what we're looking at, but let's spin
We got YouTube. They'll be on YouTube too. So.
Okay. So that one's kind of a whitish from my camera. So the first thing I look at when I want a good watermelon is I'm gonna buy 3. Okay, I'm bound to get a good one.
There you go.
Come on.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
watermelon salesman. Now that's out of the way. They should be heavy, so they're 92% water. They should be kind of symmetrical, so all those stripes should be kind of going the same direction. If any of them turn or swirl down to a center point, probably want to stay away from that one.
Okay.
And then yellow on the bottom. That ground spot you talked about, that means that it sat there long enough. So that one might have got pulled a little early.
I was going to say, we've got
It's not
everything
huge.
up until that last
It's
spot.
more of a whitish, so it's white until like the last week or so. Last little bit, it turns yellow when it really right at the end of its growing cycle. So, yep, that one looks fine though.
So this is a seedless. Do you guys grow seedless ones?
Yeah, mainly, man. It's my whole life it's been seedless. I think they kind of came into the market 30 some years ago. People wanted the not have to mess with seeds, so they it's pretty cool. Selective breeding of just X and Y chromosomes, and they can, as we continue as, I guess, I don't know how you say humans or civilization, we continue to breed varieties that are going to be the best for our growing conditions. Seedless watermelons are something they found, and it's pretty cool that what Mother Nature can do and give us, and we can do seedless. And yeah, we're 99%, 95% seedless.
Okay.
And we're actually going smaller. I mean, really. The American consumer really is going for smaller watermelons. It kind of baffles us because we feel like we're giving them the best bang for their buck in the grocery store, like price per serving and price per bite. Like you can't get a better deal than a watermelon.
Yeah.
So you go look at a carton of any other fruit, blueberries or strawberries, like what you're paying per serving or per bite. I go by bites. Like. Yeah. Serving sizes are a suggestion. Okay,
Agreed.
I'm eating fruit until I'm tired of eating it.
Yeah.
And so, but we're doing things actively to grow smaller watermelons and smaller varieties for some stores and buyers we have because their consumers they're going for smaller fruit. And that one you have looks large. That's we're shooting for smaller.
It's still not what did Tyler Froberg call it? The axle buster or whatever, the big old, 40-pounders.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember from like county fairs growing up, they would just bring in a truck of them and just slice them up and hand them out to everybody. Those had seeds. They were big ones.
I got a little cousin Kalen. He just won a growing contest back home for the heaviest, largest watermelon. So it's still happening.
How big is what do you got to be to compete?
I didn't see what his weight was. I just saw him standing with the trophy. So
because we have the largest pumpkin growing contest at our state fair, and some of those push 1,000 pounds.
Yeah,
I mean huge. They have to grow them on pallets so they can lift them with a forklift.
So we all know that you like smashing the watermelon after a victory. How do you source those watermelons? Are those family watermelons, or you send someone to the grocery store?
It's a bit of both. Especially once we get our first ones harvested, it's ours, and Dad's bringing them up, and I was able to smash one at Darlington for the truck race just a few weeks ago.
Yep.
And he had driven that up the night before in his truck, so that was really cool.
That is.
Knowing that and knowing that he was there, Mom and Dad were there for that, and that he had brought it up from the field. So that was special. I had one years ago, won a Daytona Xfinity race. My younger brother Chad, he's 6 years younger than me, and he was working for a farmer over in Tifton, Georgia, and we were running on like a Friday night in the Xfinity race, and he borrowed Farmer's plane. He has his single-engine pilot's license, so he flew over that afternoon and brought one in the seat with him in the plane and was sending us pictures in like the family group chat. And we won. And he actually ran it out to me on the front stretch, and there's some awesome pictures and memories of him. So it's a watermelon he brought from a farm he was working at. Just like those cool stories are definitely the ones that stand out. But sometimes, man, it's straight from the grocery store, just like everybody else. Our hauler driver, Roy, he goes and buys groceries and stocks the hauler for the weekend. And if we don't have any from our farm, then he's buying them. Or sometimes farmers bring them to us for the weekend. It just depends. It's a mix of everything.
Yep.
Well, there's going to be a lot of farmers in Newton this weekend. You want us to bring this down for you?
Come on. I mean, looking at my car, I kind of feel like I might need an ear of corn in my hand, to be honest.
Oh, is it the Busch Light corn can scheme?
It is.
Nice. So I had the Busch Light combine, the big John Deere combine. There were several of them, but I had one of them the last few years. If you ever saw that on social media, good chance it was mine.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool. But
so what are you looking forward to here coming to race in Iowa this weekend?
Man, it's been a few years since we've been out there, so
you have raced here though.
We have, never in the Cup Series. Cup has never been here, but we have raced in Xfinity and trucks. It's a great place, a place where I've had good finishes and kind of underfunded cars that I drove in the past. Like I haven't always been in a winning car like at Trackhouse. I spent many years kind of ascending the ladder and not doing it the fast way. I went from 2011 to 2018 before I ever won a race. That's a lot of losing when you're in a sport that just incentivizes winning so much.
Yep.
So in 2019, I was able to go there in a truck and win. So we have one there. I have a trophy. It's a gas pump, ethanol theme. Now the one thing is that we did get thrown out in tech. So when you look at the rule book or the the history, I'm trying to think of when you look back, it's not going to list me as the winner.
Yeah.
But I have the trophy. I won the race. We kept it. They had to buy another trophy for the other guy who finished second, and we gave them the win after they took it from us. But it's got some great memories. I smashed a watermelon in victory lane, and they backed a fire truck in, and we hosed it out with the fire truck.
Nice. Cool. What'd you get DQ'd for? Just pushing the limits a little bit on something?
Truck was too low after the race. So in the truck series in Xfinity, you have to have what they call tech height, where you have to go through tech inspection, say 5 inches off the ground, and they give you plus or minus half an inch. So you could be 4.5 inches off the ground or 5.5. You have to be within that window, and we were at 3.5 basically. We were just too low. Now every truck and car, when it goes on the track, slams down and scrapes the ground all the way around the track. Ours just didn't come back up. It was just stuck down and didn't have any effect on the track, because as soon as I get in it and push the gas, the truck, the setup lets it drop down. That makes it faster. It just wouldn't come back up. They tried everything they could, and it was just bound up. And
yeah. Okay.
One of those things.
We've had, like you said, we've had trucks, we've had Xfinity, IndyCar comes and races at Newton. I'm excited that we have the Cup Series. I know it came because of some other tracks possibly getting redone or whatever, but I hope we can keep you guys. We don't have like professional sports teams in Iowa. We got to go to Kansas City or Minneapolis or up to Green Bay or over to Chicago. It would be nice to have, the top tier motorsports. I'm a big NASCAR fan. Knoxville Raceway, an hour from where we live here. I grew up going to sprint cars, watching Sammy Swindell, those guys. Man, I just hope we can keep you. What do you like about it's a 7/8 mile track? Is it a fast 7/8? What do you like about it?
Yeah, it's not high banked by any means, but it's got enough speed to it that you feel the speed, especially driving down into turn 1 for me. They have repaved it, so there was sections of the track in the corners they went in and repaved it. I'm not sure why. We don't really know what the reasoning was. but they saw something in the asphalt they didn't think was going to last. So the straightaways are old, the pit road and the aprons, the same stuff, but where we'll be racing in the corners is repaved. So just a lot of unknowns.
Yep.
One of the reasons I'm going to jump in an Xfinity car and drive the number 92 car on Saturday, and I'll get to practice it before the Cup car, so I get a feel of the track, just to see what it's all about and just get some laps on it. It's been so long since 5 years since any of us have been on it. So
is there?
How much fatigue comes from doing those extra laps on Saturday?
Oh, totally worth it. I can get enough sleep, and we train enough. I work with a coach at Chevy that we have several coaches, but they've got us well conditioned and trained, and there's nothing better I could be doing to be better for Sunday than driving on Saturday. If I could drive every week, I would do almost every race if I could.
Yeah.
And I can get a good dinner and recover Saturday night and be fresh and ready for Sunday. It's not like, it's just not the same as playing 2 football games back to back or something, or baseball. It's just different. There's different things we have to be good at and physically be strong at.
Yep.
And I feel racing wise that I'm as strong as anybody. So we're definitely not the biggest guys and girls. We're not lifting the most weights, right? We might not look like it, but when we get in those cars, we're able to sustain that for hours on end and multiple days back to back.
Yep. Did I hear that next year you might be doing the double like Kyle Larson tried this year?
Gosh, I wish. I wish. No plans though.
No plans. That'd be pretty cool.
What they were able to accomplish and pull off with all that is incredible, and it's inspiring. But no, we got lots of things on our plate. That's not one of them right now.
Yeah. I don't know how he does it because he races several nights a week. I mean, the guy's got to be an alien or something. I mean, he's fast as hell. But I like him just because he drives sprint cars. I love sprint cars. So, have you ever gotten a sprint car?
Not a full size one. I've done the micros.
Yeah.
We do that here at Millbridge, and not climbing in one of those while I'm in my professional NASCAR career. I would do the IndyCar, which is odd to say with the speeds, but no, sprint cars. I'll do dirt late model. I do modified. I've dabbled in the dirt late model stuff, the supers, and gotten my butt handed to me for sure. But no, sprint cars are a hard no for me.
Yeah.
That's good. I know we don't have a lot of time left, but I got to fire a couple of questions at you. We know that you got your start with some of your original sponsors being from agriculture, and you also are a part of Ag to Asphalt. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's just an effort to say thank you to farmers. Ag to Asphalt is a simple idea that we had to invite farmers out. We travel to 38 events a year. 36 of them are Cup points events, and I sprinkle in Xfinity truck races. Like I mentioned earlier, we were able to win it at Darlington. I can't go without saying that. It's just bucket list achievement to do that. And we invite farmers out to each of these races, and we give them a swag bag and hat, shirt, and show them a good time down around the track, and just let them come sit in the grandstands and say thank you. We're just saying thank you. We just want them to come and take a break. And I think that's what's so great about live sports is that you can just tune the rest of the world out for those 3 hours. Nothing else matters. You're just watching a sport. Now for us, it's our livelihoods. It's my career. It's what I have dedicated better part of over a decade to. And for the farmer in Iowa this weekend, like they just get to come and be a part of that. And so, and just enjoy it and watch, and they can be as engaged or not engaged. They can take a nap, whatever they want. I just want them to come, and I want to offer that to them. So,
cool.
It's our first year of doing it, but it's working well.
Good. Well, we've had a pretty trying spring trying to get the corn and soybeans planted. Some of us are doing it the second or even maybe the third time because of all the rains we've had. So we're definitely ready for a weekend of distractions.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
That's what's so great about what we do when we come to town. So.
Yeah.
We love talking to people who are the best in their industry, and I want to know from you, when you get in a car, what do you feel like you do better than any of the other drivers on the track?
That's tough to say at this level because everybody that I'm racing against on Sundays has won in everything they've done. I mean, I might be one of the ones with the least amount of wins growing up through my childhood. We didn't always do it looking back the best way. We didn't always put the money in that we needed to. We didn't stay in the class we had mastered and just win a bunch of races. We were always moving up. So right when we get good in the kid series, like the fast kids, we moved to the adults. And right as we got good at that, we moved to the late models and then to the higher ranks of the late models on asphalt. So, but in general, what I feel like a lot of us are good at and what I pride myself on and what I continue to push the limits on is pushing my race car past the limit of the tire. So every tire has a limit. It can only go so fast and so far based on the load and the way the car is handling, the way it's sticking to the track. And I can go to that limit and then slide and then bring it back without crashing. So obviously the limit is getting towed in by a record.
Yes.
And the other side of that is being the slowest in qualifying. So somewhere in the middle, you have to find what your car will do. And I feel like that I'm able to go and naturally just find that. Sometimes I don't even know what's happening. They'll ask me, what did you have last weekend in Sonoma in turn 10? I told them, this is a true story from this past weekend. I didn't even know there was a turn 10. Like in the moment, I was just driving the car. My feet, my hands, my vision, everything is just happening. And then we break it down and dissect it afterwards. And if a caution comes out, I can kind of think through it, but it takes me a little bit. And I can give them some feedback. But going over that limit, sliding the car. Y'all see it when you watch our races. You see us sliding around. That's just naturally happening. And from years of practice and racing, that we're able to do that at the speeds we're doing. That's the difference in what we all did growing up at 60 miles an hour. And now we're doing 160. Stuff happens a whole lot faster.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Well, we know you have to go. We want to be respectful of your time.
Do one more. Can I ask one more question? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Can you walk us through the Hail Melon? What those last couple of laps were like, the decision to do that? I know our listeners. I'm curious. I know our listeners are curious.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is I could talk about it for an hour. I could talk about it for a whole episode. I could go on and on, especially if I had a few more Busch Lights in me. But the thing about it is, from the very first moment I ever thought about doing it until it was all over and I crossed the finish line and it was done, was 20 seconds. Wow. From the no one. I swear people don't believe me, but I thought about it to start off. I thought about it first coming off turn 4. So we had ran 499 laps. We were coming to start the final lap, the 500th lap. And off turn 4, as I see the white flag, I've realized for the last 5 laps that we're defeated. I cannot catch the next car. I had passed 2 laps before, but there's not enough cars to pass. And the 11 cars too far ahead. And when I saw the white flag, it popped in my head to run the wall. And my spotter, Brandon, at the same time said, hey man, or he said, white flag, need 2 here. That's all he said. White flag, need 2 here. So I drive down in turn 1, downshift to 3rd, going through the corner, and I just asked, got to get them. I wanted to make sure, there's no way that we're maybe in. Maybe I have my math wrong. And this is all happening, live time in turns 1 and 2 on the final lap. And my crew chief off turn 2 says, need 2, got to get them. Matter of factly, didn't hesitate. Bam, over. And I came off turn 2 and I looked straight down the backstretch and I just picked a spot on the wall and aimed for it. So normally you would brake, downshift from 4th to 3rd and roll the bottom of the track, run 75 miles an hour around the turn. Well, I realized I was going to hit the rev limiter. We have the RPM limiters. So I shifted to 5th, the top gear that we don't use at that track, and held it wide open. That was into turn 3. Somehow it went around the wall. It didn't slow down, but about 5 miles an hour. I was doing 140. They were doing 75 miles an hour down the inside. So I had to go a longer distance, but almost twice as fast. Popped out the other side, grabbed a hold of the wheel because I had let go of the wheel. I was not helping guide my car. It'd be like trying to steer a boat with the engine off. You don't have You don't have the tires. I couldn't turn the wheel. The wall was holding it. So it was over as quick as I thought about it. Off turn 4. I mean, less than 20 seconds, closer to 15, 16 seconds later, it's over. And I just had to kind of try to grasp what just happened. Look, I still don't know why I thought of it. I don't know why that was in my memory the only thing that was in my memory, maybe looking back, if I think about it, was like playing video games as a kid.
Yep.
So I was born in '92. We had the Nintendo GameCube that Chad and I played. I don't know. I hadn't played that game in a really long time, so I don't know why the game didn't pop in my head. Just for some reason, I had no reason why not to run the wall. Once it popped in my head, I just thought, try it. If you crash, you crash. You're already out of the championship. Yeah. Go for it. And I got some buddies back home. We live by the mentality of why not, and it rang true that day.
Well, and the name of your farm, isn't it JDI, Just Do It Farm?
That's right.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Man, and it'll never be done again because NASCAR changed the rules, so he'll be the only one that ever got to do it. So
that's right.
That's pretty cool, man. We could talk for a lot longer, but we know you're a busy man.
We'll figure out a way to sneak down to the pits and come see you.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yep. Maybe we'll get. Looks like Rachel we'll bring the corn, so maybe you'll be smashing some corn this weekend when you win.
I'm here for it.
Maybe you win both. Get a double. Let's go for it.
I love it.
Try it.
I feel like we got to do a NASCAR thank you at the end here for Iowa Corn for putting this together. No, I'm just kidding. Well, Ross, this was a pleasure. Thank you for your time. Thanks for letting us pick you up here and run a little bit long. We greatly appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, boys. We'll see you at the track.
Yep.
Awesome. Boy, Corey, did you have 4 or 5 more questions on your list?
Normally I don't use this paper, but today I was writing a lot down, and I have probably about a dozen.
What do you wish you could have
asked? I wanted to know who he was going to put into the wall this weekend. I wanted to know who his favorite person to race against is, who his least favorite person to race against is. Did you know that Trackhouse Racing is actually partly owned by Pitbull?
No.
Yeah. I mean, we can only do so much in 30 minutes.
That's right. I wanted to make fun of him, right? People make fun of Iowa corn and Nebraska corn. I wanted to know if there was like a Florida watermelon, a Georgia watermelon, if there was a watermelon rivalry.
Yeah.
And then I also want to know if they ever get crap for, is watermelon necessary? Like what is a watermelon? What did you say, 97% water?
It's fruit.
Heavy?
Heck yeah, it's necessary. It's good food, man. I also wanted to get into the farm more. We talked probably over half the time about the farm, but still, we are just farmers inherently, and we love learning about new crops.
That's right.
And I'd want to know how involved he really is, because I know how grueling their schedule is at NASCAR. Yeah. I mean, like he said, they flew back from Sonoma, got to bed at 4 a.m. and back at the track, and they're weightlifting. And
I've been geeking out on that. It is. He says over and over in his interviews, it's a 7-day-a-week job.
100%. You know, you could be a race car driver with your stature.
30-some races. What is that supposed to mean?
He said, tiny little guys. They're little guys. Like, no longer is it a big burly guy like me
strong.
In there.
Farmer strong.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
I bet lifting up watermelons helps with that.
It's probably right. Well, listeners, again, thank you if this is the first time you tuned in with us, and thank you especially if it's not the first time you've tuned in with us. We appreciate all that you do. So, Corey, what do you tell the listeners?
Especially today. Crack a Busch Light. You deserve it.